And as promised, it's the local law enforcement hour with Sheriff John Myers and Blake Grooms. You guys are here and ready to take over.
Yes, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
It's a takeover.
It's a takeover. You took over my studio.
We've been known to do that every now and then. Just come in and take over.
At least I'm not under arrest.
There you go.
Not yet, anyway.
I don't even have any handcuffs on me. What about you? You got cuffs on you?
Well, they're in the console, but
I got zip ties.
It'll be all right. I'll behave.
You know you're in trouble when we go to the zip ties.
That's right. That's right. So how are things going in law enforcement, gentlemen?
You know, it's hot.
Yes.
And when it gets hot, I use this analogy a lot. You know, a lot of criminals are like wasps. You know, when it starts really getting hot, you start to see wasps out more. You know, it's criminals. Criminals seem to come out a lot more when
That's a good analogy.
When it gets hot. But no, we had our saturation Friday, and if you're not familiar with the term saturation, we call it a saturation. It's sometimes I'll call it a show of force, but we call in all hands on deck to come out and just really saturate the entire county, all four corners of the county, from Iron City to Bonnertown to Summertown to Anderson Creek. We just pair up in vehicles. I think there was about 16 or 17 of us out paired up, and of course the other departments and agencies were out too, you know, on top of that. But we had the grand jury met a couple of weeks ago, so there was a round of new indictments that come down. So what we'll do is we'll pair people up and we'll give them a stack of papers, because that's one of our primary duties at the sheriff's office, is serving papers, you know.
Yes.
Papers handed down from court, but specifically arrest warrants. And we handed off stacks of arrest warrants for everybody and just told them to get after it. And then between when you wasn't looking for an individual that we had warrants on, we were looking for other criminal activity.
Sure.
So we were stopping a lot of cars and checking people. And it was pretty successful. I think our numbers, I think we were 13. We had 13 arrests over that period of time. We got started at about 6 o'clock and run all the way to midnight or 1 o'clock. I can't make it to midnight hardly anymore. It's tough for me to make it past 11 o'clock. I get out and I start feeling it, so I'll go home and hit the hay and let the troops have it. But me and my chief deputy were out, and it was a successful evening. And so if people noticed, there was a lot of blue lights out, a lot of law enforcement out Friday night. That's what it was.
Awesome.
I love saturation. I mean, just on two different levels. Saturation, you go out and you do what you intend to do and what you hope to do. And then the other part of saturation is all the extras that come in on top of it. You know, all the stuff that basically fell in your lap. And I'll never forget it. We were doing a saturation, I don't know, probably 10 years or so, and I pulled over this one guy and popped him pretty good bit of dope. I mean, he had a rolling pharmacy, I guess you could say, in his car, and he was just beside himself. He was like, y'all can't be out here and not post it on the radio. He's like, y'all can't be out here like this. You know you've got to post it on the radio. And I just looked at him, I was like, buddy, that's the THP. We're the police.
And this isn't a roadblock.
Yeah, and this isn't a roadblock. Oh, he was just beside himself. But no, saturation is a good thing, and I'm glad that
He thought he knew the law.
Yeah, he thought he knew the law. Yeah, that was some of that holding cell.
And you know, and he is right. I mean, he wasn't right that night, but we do have to, if we're going to have a roadblock or a checkpoint, we have to put that out early and let people know specifically where we're going to be and how long we're going to be there. And it has to be specific. And I'll tell you, there was a case from a long time ago, and I think it was in Roane County, and it was a checkpoint. And here's what we would do years ago. We would get checkpoint signs, big signs, and post up on the side of the interstate. And the sign would read, drug checkpoint ahead, be prepared to stop, K9 police dogs. There was a whole lot of information on those signs.
Yeah.
So what you would see if you was a violator traveling down the interstate, you would see this big sign on the side of the road, drug checkpoint ahead, be prepared to stop, working dogs, whatever. And if you've got drugs or if you're involved in some kind of criminal activity, you're like, holy crap, I got to do something. I got to get off this road. Well, we would put it about 1/10 of a mile from the next exit.
Yeah.
So when the violator would think, well, I'm getting off the interstate, I'm going to have to figure this out. As soon as he got off the off-ramp, there's where all the police would be. And we would actually be parked on both sides of the road. And if you didn't have a legitimate reason for dumping off that interstate, then we would pull you over and we would run a dog around your vehicle. And it was 100% legal back then. And we were very successful. We even had surveillance teams in the tree line.
Yeah.
Right past the sign, because people would pull off and throw drugs out. They would get rid of contraband. They would switch drivers. I mean, there was a whole lot of panic going on between that sign and that off ramp. And they would radio ahead and say, hey, this white truck just pulled off and switched drivers and they throwed something in the ditch, you know?
Yeah.
So, and then, like I said, when they would dump off the interstate and they would go over a little rise before they hit the stop sign, there we would all be. Well, the courts ruled that was okay, but it couldn't be permanent. It was okay for just for like an operation, a weekend operation or something, and it had to be specific to that length of time. Well, what I was told was, and I'm thinking it was Roane County set one up and never took it down. They left the signs up, and they would just post deputies out there 24/7 watching people dump off that, and they would pull them over. And lo and behold, they made a big cocaine case. I think they seized like 60, 80 kilo, 40 kilos of cocaine or something some drug courier. And a high dollar attorney from out of state came in and they challenged it, and it went all the way up, I think, to the Sixth Circuit maybe. But anyway, that's the case law that stopped the drug checkpoints like we used to have back.
Well, I've always been curious, seriously, is why they have to post when they're going to do a stop. The
you want
THB.
to talk about the Fourth Amendment?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out.
So I believe there's several reasons why they have to, and we could, text a trooper and ask him. But right off the bat, the first thing that comes to mind is entrapment and impeding somebody's travel. And I'm not trying to get off into a sovereign citizen lingo here, but citizens do have the right to travel and not being impeded upon. And, if you're driving down the road and 10 o'clock at night and not doing anything wrong, not breaking, the law, who says that you have to stop for this thing called a roadblock with all these guys out in tan uniforms? So, there are stipulations in the law where a trooper can pull somebody over that a normal police officer can't, because they are the highway patrol and they have things under statute that gives them a little bit more authority than we have. But at the end of the day, as the sheriff mentioned, we do have a little thing called the Fourth Amendment. And, to stop somebody and demand, a driver's license and to ask them questions when they've not done anything wrong in the first place, there has been challenges. And as a result of them challenges has come the situation where they have to make it known. I think is it 10 or 14 days before they do it?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of weeks, but I mean, this is America.
Yeah.
And you still have the right to be free.
Sure.
And the Fourth Amendment's clear. It talks about unlawful search and seizure and detainment.
Sure.
So as a law enforcement officer, we have to have a reason to detain you. We just can't pick and choose. And I've worked in third world countries where it's not like that. They can pick and choose. They can detain you for not even mere suspicion.
Just because they want to.
Yeah, we have to have at least a minimum of reasonable suspicion.
That's interesting. Yeah.
What we push is probable cause. But for example, I mean, there's a lot of reasons why you can stop a vehicle, but there's not a lot of reasons why you can go up, like Blake said, and ask for a driver's license and vehicle documents. I mean, if you see a safety violation, I mean, that's a reasonable suspicion to pull somebody over and say, hey, you got your safety chains back here have come off on your trailer. You need to get that fixed, or that's going to cause a problem. that's totally okay to stop that vehicle because that's a safety concern. I wouldn't go up there and start asking for driver's license and vehicle documents at that time, but if you see something from the time you get out of your vehicle and you get up to the driver's side window or passenger side window that adds another level of suspicion. I mean, you see a bunch of beer cans in the back seat or something, something that
Sure.
that's in plain view. Then you can step that stop up just a little bit and start asking for stuff. I mean, we're required to. I mean, we're public safety servants. I mean, that's what we're supposed to do. But you have to be able to articulate all that.
Sure.
But getting back to the roadblocks and checkpoints, I mean, you're basically detaining somebody without any suspicion.
Sure.
So
Okay.
the law, the way the law reads, I mean, it's pretty.
Well, that
clear.
makes a little more sense, but I always wondered why they told everybody where they were going to be.
Well, and like I said, I think
Because like Paul Revere,
Yeah.
the British are coming riding through the middle of town.
I could be wrong, but everything in me right now is there have been a couple court cases where they have alleged entrapment or detaining somebody without probable cause or reasonable suspicion, and and don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of the THP doing roadblocks. It is not a good idea to ride around the county, drunk as a skunk, and potentially have the potential to take somebody else's life. So
Sure.
The way I look at it, if the THP tells you that they're going to be at this certain spot on this certain day for a certain period of time, and you roll up to that roadblock drunk, can't nobody cry foul.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's on you.
And over the years, I've pulled a couple people over for a busted tail light or for no tag light or, their tag was crooked, which that is a violation of the law. When you're out there looking for dope, you'll use any, probable cause that you can to pull somebody over. But I've pulled some people over the years where they had been drinking a little bit. And it's like, you really pulled me over because I had a crooked tag. Here I am, I'm driving the speed limit, and yes, I've had a little bit, them people, yeah, I can understand their complaint, but again, if you roll up to a THP roadblock and you're drunk, buddy, that is on you.
Well, I mean, any roadblock or checkpoint is effective as a deterrent, number one.
Sure.
If one person is planning on going out and getting hammered that night, and their buddy says, "Hey, just letting you know, THP said they're going to have a roadblock." You might change that guy's mind,
Yeah.
and you might have saved
save some lives. That's
so
true.
it's not a bad thing, but you have to do it the right way.
I saw a recent post, changing the subject just slightly. I saw a recent post where there were several, a big drug arrest just very recently.
Yeah.
Like 10 or 12 people or something like that.
What about that, Sheriff?
So that was, and I'm glad you asked that because we just released that yesterday. So this was last year when we seized that a little over 21 pounds of methamphetamine and a pretty good chunk of fentanyl and then some firearms. So this was coming from West Tennessee, coming right here to our little town in Lawrenceburg. It was it ended up at a storage building here in Lawrenceburg. And we were able to interdict that, coming through before they got it, and then they started busting it up. I'm sure every bit of it was already spoken for. That's the drug game. But anyway, we were able to interdict that 21 pounds and got it. But it was a cooperative effort between us and the feds, the FBI, the TBI, and then a couple other neighboring agencies. But anyway, so we knew that there were going to be a lot of federal indictments come down because it was one big crime syndicate, and the head guy was actually running it from prison. He was doing time in one of our prisons here.
Wow.
And he was coordinating all the logistics and everything from prison. But it was I think a total of 10 individuals this round. Now, from what I'm being told, there's going to be a handful more that comes down. But anyway, so yeah, it run from Nashville to Memphis down here into North Alabama, And I had to sit on that story for quite a while
I was
because
so mad. I was so mad.
because the feds, you know, they didn't want us to give out too much information too early and mess up the investigation, which rightfully so, you know. So I had to sit on it, and every week I was getting with my drug guys and saying, what's the feds saying? Can I give them something? I need to put some of this out, you know, because it's the biggest methamphetamine case this county's ever seen. And finally, one of the head FBI agent was like, "Yeah, send me something, let me review it, and then if my boss is okay with the release, then you can release it." So I typed something up and sent it to them, and they they shortened it. They shortened it like 80%. You know, they throwed out a whole bunch of good stuff, you know, and just made it just a real general, basic press release. We got this much drug. We got this much meth on this date. Thank you. You know, there wasn't much to it, but I was able to put the little quote in there. Well, now, so you fast forward to 2 weeks ago, and my drug guys say, hey, the feds finally got returns on those federal indictments, so we're going to have them in hand pretty soon. And there were 3 individuals from our county that was named in the indictments. So last Tuesday morning we got up, the feds came, and I keep saying the feds, the FBI and the TBI came down with us, and me and our SWAT team and a few other people went out and served 2 of the arrest warrants here locally. And one of the arrest warrants included a search warrant because the individual that was being arrested was still in the middle of the drug game. And I think they seized some more drugs and paraphernalia at their house when they made the arrest. And then the other third one, they got wind that they had just recently moved off and they were staying in Dixon, Tennessee. So the authorities up there went and grabbed them. But the last word that I got was all 10 of them were in custody. So that's 10 people in this area that needed to be in jail, that was moving all this this meth. And so yeah, it was a good day to get all of them.
Now, when an arrest is made like that, multiple people, and it's a drug bust, that kind of thing, where are they housed? I mean, where are they kept?
They took them to a federal prison.
Okay.
Yeah, federal holding facility.
Wow.
Yeah, if it's federal charges, they're going to take them with them, you know. And
well, that's kind of a relief for you. Get them out of your hands.
Yeah, you know, get them out of our county. Which, I mean, I'd have gladly locked them up in my jail too.
I'm sure.
You know, they are in some serious trouble, and hopefully, if everything goes right, they've learned their lesson and they're going to go to jail for a long time. And
wow.
Maybe when they get out, they'll be.
It was so aggravating, especially, you know, as another police officer, you know, you're warning the public to hear that, you know, your local guy's just got a 21-pound pop. That has never happened before.
Wow.
And, you know, to give a little backstory about how you do have to keep things confidential, and there are a lot of the stuff that happens that you're not able to give out, not just to the public, but to other police officers. So to give you the backstory on this, that same day, I'm riding down the road, and I see a couple agents in a different vehicle, and I'm like, what are they doing? I know what that looks like. So I called one of them. I'm like, hey, buddy, you know, what are you doing? He's like, well, I really can't go into detail right now, but we got something going on. And I'm like, you need any help? And he's like, no. And he said, I may have to call you later on. You know, I might need some help. I'm like, all right, well, my phone's always on. And I do. I love his drug guys. They're great. Well, it was about, I don't know what, 11 that night after the dust got settled.
Probably,
yeah. I get a phone call again from one of these guys, and he was like, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, okay, let me have it. He said, 21 pounds. I'm about to drop the phone. I was like, oh my goodness, this is big. But I was so brokenhearted that the sheriff had to sit on it for so long, because generally, you know, that you do have to sit on it for a little while, but this kind of like went overboard. And, you know, not just as another cop proud of, you know, our local guys for making this hit, but as a citizen, I want the world to know, this is one that's never happened before. Two, this is not something that happens in our area. It's very unusual, and our guys should get credit for it. So, like you said, it started last August. So here we are, 10 months.
Wow.
Almost a year before the general public can really find out the truth about all the hard work that was put into this.
Wow.
Yeah, it's big.
The wheels of justice sometimes are really slow.
Yes. Yes.
But, that's, well, thank you.
Hey, where's ours?
You didn't tell me to get one.
Oh, he didn't tell you to get it. Okay.
One of the advantages of
There you go.
No, it was a good day, and I don't think people understand how much that really was, because I mean once you sell that down to the community,
You want me to describe it?
and then they break it down, and we use the term step on it, but they'll add a little bit of something to it to add the weight, make the weight a little bit bigger, and that really stung the criminal element in our community, getting that 21 pounds.
Wow.
So
Put them out of business.
to go further with that, a sweet and low packet that you have like at a restaurant, right?
Yes.
You know how you tear it open and put it in your unsweet tea, makes everything better, which I hate unsweet tea. So that packet, that sweet and low packet, is 1 gram of sweet and low. Well, typically, on the street, a casual user will use anywhere between 1/10 of a gram to about anywhere between 0.1 to 0.15 grams every time they use meth. Typically, now this is average. So you can say that easily out of a gram of meth, a casual meth user will get anywhere between 6 to 8 uses out of a gram. Okay, there's 28 grams in an ounce. There's 16 ounces in a pound. So when we say 21 pounds, it's really easy to say 21 pounds, but when you do 21 times 16 times 28 times 0.15, that is exactly how many uses of methamphetamine was in that load that our guys seized.
What kind of, and I have no idea, but what kind of money would someone spend for a pack like that?
So times have changed. When I was undercover, I was paying $2,200 an ounce. Okay, for 28 grams. I was paying $2,200 for 28 grams. Even buying it in an ounce, we were still almost paying $100 a gram, and that was at about 90% pure. Nowadays, you're getting dope around 98% pure. We've even seen it as pure as 100. You're getting dope anywhere between 96 to 98% pure, and we could buy an ounce all day long right now for what, $275, $300?
Probably.
It goes against economics.
It's going up a little bit. I mean, we're finally starting to see an increase in street level drugs because of it's just getting harder. It's getting harder to find. There's not as much flooding into our country like there was 3 years ago.
Well, that's a good thing.
It is a good thing. That, like I said, that tells us that it's getting a little bit. I've made this comment a million times since I've been in office. I hope I see the day of fentanyl and meth so expensive that nobody can afford it.
Yes.
I hope I see that day.
Sure.
I don't know if I ever will, but
It
we
does-
yeah.
Just as a casual observer, and I'm really that. I'm totally in the dark on this world, on that world. But it seems to me that how the people that I see that I might think, oh, that's a meth guy. I don't understand how they afford it.
Well, like the sheriff has said so many times on this show, is easily 70% of your theft cases out in the county and in the city right now are drug related. They're either stealing to trade for drugs, or they're stealing to sell in order to go buy drugs, or they're just hyped up on drugs and they want to go take other people's stuff.
And with methamphetamine, back in the day, and I sound like a broken record, I know, but back in the day, you had drug dealers that were not users. They dealt drugs just for the money.
That's true. Very true.
I don't know of any. I think out of all my years in law enforcement, I can think of one individual that was a meth dealer and he didn't touch it. He didn't smoke it. He didn't use it. he would tell you, I don't mess with that stuff. I sell that for the money. He was the rarity because every other one is an addict.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why there's nothing to seize anymore. We used to make our money from seizures, you know, asset forfeiture. You take the bad guy's stuff, and that's how you put him out of business, and then we sell it and put it in a drug fund, and that's how we buy our stuff. Those days are pretty much over. Nobody has. You know, you don't see a lot of cash anymore. Yeah. It's all Apple Pay and Venmo and everything now, and then you top that with the dealers are addicts. And they don't have
So they don't have anything.
You go over there at our seizure lot and look at the crap we're seizing.
Yeah.
It looks like the jump and run at the fair after the jump and run.
Yeah.
That's the kind of vehicles that we're seizing.
Yeah, I can remember having sales a time or two for the seizure stuff, and some of it would be pretty decent stuff.
Yeah.
But y'all don't have it anymore.
No. And to go along with what he just said, there was a guy in Lawrence County that we were trying to pop for years, and that he was along. He did some other stuff, but he didn't do meth. Well, you know, of course, you have informants and people that give you information. When it came back to us that he started using meth, and I told my partner, I said it's only a matter now that he's using. We will get to him within 6 months, I promise you. And sure enough, it was. I think it was a little bit more than 6 months. But where we had been chasing him for a couple of years, not long after we found out that he started using meth, it wasn't that long.
It's just so destructive, isn't it?
Oh mercy, yeah.
Wow. What about labs here in the county?
It's the cartels took over.
Yeah.
All that. Nobody makes their own meth here locally anymore.
The
cartels have the super labs below the border. I mean, we get these intel reports from Blue Light and the yield of finished product that these super labs are putting out. It's stupid, like 1/4 ton. I mean, one big cook yields a 1/4 ton of meth. You know.
And again, you're getting it at 96, 98, sometimes even 100%.
You see the pictures of, I mean, it looks like boulders.
Really?
Just pure meth, you know, that these labs are cooking off, and then they package it up.
Wow. Now, where would they be located? These labs?
South of the border.
They're in Mexico.
Well, and then there's what the intel reports also show is it'll fluctuate too, because some of it'll come across in liquid form. And if it gets across the border in liquid form, then there's a lab somewhere near the border that they take it to, and they cook it back into the crystal form to sell it.
We call that a conversion lab. But yeah, for the first time in our history, the cartels can supply it cheaper, more powerful than you can actually make it here at home.
Yeah,
that's amazing. Well, I thought for a long time though there were lab people that did try to do their own stuff here.
Oh yes.
So we don't have any of that anymore?
Well, I haven't seen any.
You know, we talked about this not too long ago. Right about now is about the time where our old school cooks, our anhydrous ammonia cooks, our red pea cook. You know, you've heard people talk about how they can smell cat urine.
Sure.
You know, and they think somebody, okay, well that's an ammonia lab. That's one of the old school ways to cook meth. Them people that got busted, you know, in the early 2000s, they're now starting to get out of prison because a lot of them got an 18 to 26 year, you know, sentence. Well, I mean, this is 2026, so they're starting to get out of prison. A lot of them have learned new things by being in prison. You know, if you go to prison for 20 years and don't learn how to be a better criminal, that's probably your fault, you know.
So we like to think prison fixes most of them, but in reality,
it does.
It's a small percentage. But yeah, I mean, the laws changed back in those days. You know, they made it a felony to possess the ingredients. You didn't even have to have the finished product. If you got caught with the precursors, then that was enough for a felony. And then, you know, the Sudafed, where you got to show your ID, you know, that changed. So a lot of laws made it harder for the hometown meth cooks to make their product. But The cartels were like, we don't have all those restrictions, so why don't we just make it bigger and better and flood the market? And that's what they did.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
with all that saying, we are seeing an increase in street level prices, which tells us it's getting harder to get. Arrests are down, calls are down. My jail, I only have I have less than 150 people in jail right now, and I have a 261 bed facility.
Fantastic.
So we're under capacity. And there's a lot of things that we're doing different in the jail too, as far as offering some rehab and programs and educational stuff in there that I would like to think, and I check the recidivism rate, not weekly, but maybe every couple of weeks, maybe once a month, I'll look at our recidivism rate. And a couple of years ago, we were still in the 80s, which meant that 8 out of 10 are repeat offenders. And
Sure.
the last couple of times I've checked it, we're in the 60s. So the recidivism rate's going down too. So I think all the good things going on in our little community is helping.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Plus,
Awesome.
it's so expensive to get in trouble these days. I was talking to an older gentleman not too long ago, and he's like, used to, man, go out, have a little fun. If you wanted to run from the police, you have a little fun, and, they're going to catch you, and you go to jail, and you have your court date, and that was the end of it. He's like, now it's so expensive to get in trouble, despite it being illegal or whatever you're doing. He's like,
Inflation.
they're going to take all your money.
Inflation's even
He's like, I can't afford to get in trouble no
affecting the
more.
criminals.
He's like, I'd like to go out and have a little fun. I just thought that was hilarious that this dude, he was like, I want to go out,
It's economic.
but I can't.
cheaper to stay at home,
Yeah, I
man.
can't afford it. I can't afford it. Inflation.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Sheriff, it crossed my mind a minute ago. How many sheriff deputies or employees or how big is the department? I guess I should say.
I'm budgeted for 102 or 103, just a little over 100 employees, and we stay right there around that number.
Okay.
100. Commissioned, sworn, bonded law enforcement officers, I've got about 60 something. My jail staff makes up almost 40. I think 38 is what I'm budgeted for my jail staff. And then we have 4 or 5 administrative secretaries, that help.
I would think it takes a special cut of person to be in law enforcement.
It does.
And to be a deputy or a law enforcement officer or something like that. Do you have a fairly big turnover? Are you always looking for someone new or things like that? Or
Well, and it's not just our little community. I frequently talk with the other sheriffs across the state. There's 95 of us total, and,
Sure.
and I frequently talk with them. And the Highway Patrol has always been the top paying law enforcement agency,
Sure.
for rural Tennessee. Now you get into some of your bigger metropolitan areas and counties and stuff that are around the state, they can compete, but they got some of the biggest raises ever here over the past 5, 6, 7 years. And a state trooper now starts out more than what my lieutenants make. And it's hard. I've lost some to the Highway Patrol. Every other neighboring county's lost them to the Highway Patrol. And you really can't blame your people.
No.
And I tell my deputies, I'm never going to blame you for taking a higher paying job. But it's tough and then plus they also, and I'm not here to badmouth the Highway Patrol. I'm glad we've got them, and I'm glad our governor has really put more of them out there. But they'll start out more than what I can pay my lieutenant. One of my lieutenants that's been there for a long time. Number one, and number two, what is the something like is it bilateral or something? Their academy. They used to make you go through their full academy.
Oh, Transition Academy.
Yeah. Even if you was a 20-year sheriff's deputy and you wanted to be a highway patrol, you still had to go through their full academy. Well, a few years ago they lifted that, and now you only have to go maybe for half of it or something. It's a lot less than the full academy.
Sure.
So it's easier now for a sheriff's deputy or a city police officer to join the highway patrol. So you combine that, you know, it's tough. You know, you spend the money to hire a person and send them to the academy, and they work for you for a little while, and then you get a letter in your door that says, "Hey, Sheriff, thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for everything you've done for me. I appreciate it, but this is my 2-week notice." I've been accepted into the highway patrol, you know.
And again, you can't blame them, but
No,
yeah.
you can't. But
Wow.
you know, that's part of it, and
Sure.
it's like that way across the state. I mean, some of the more rural counties in Tennessee, really. I mean, there's counties in the state, because our salary is based on the population. The sheriff's salary is based on the population.
Yes.
So if you're in one of these counties, these really small counties, a state trooper starting out makes more than the sheriff.
Yeah.
That has the responsibility of the courthouse,
Yeah.
the jail,
Yeah.
and paper service.
Wow.
You know, because we're the only law enforcement that's mandated by law. We have to keep and maintain a jail, and we have to serve all the papers for the courts, and we have to provide courthouse security. You know, police officers and troopers don't do any of that. We have to do all that. So that's the case that me and the other sheriffs are always making. You know, you look at the amount of responsibility that we have compared to, I'll tell you, and I'm going to pick on him. I can't think of his name. That's the reason why I'm
I
going to
thought
pick
you
on
was
him.
going to pick on me for
No,
that. I was like, I
he
don't
was
know
he
nothing
was
about
over the Natchez Trace from Nashville to
Daniel-
Alabama.
Daniel?
Don't say it because I'm gonna pick on him.
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Because I don't think he's there anymore.
No, he's retired.
Yeah, but anyway, this guy, he was over the trace from the Alabama line to however far north it went. He had one road,
Yeah.
and I think he had 4 people under him, and he made almost twice as much as what I made.
Yeah.
And I said, that's the job. That's the
Oh,
job.
yeah, that is a sweet job.
That's a gig right there.
I built this garage.
One
I've heard
road, four
several
employees.
stories.
But anyway, yeah, you know, there's a lot on our plate. Sheriffs have a lot on. That's why we get old and beat down and gray after we've been in office for a few years.
So to tell you how much things have changed, I ain't nowhere near as old as this guy. When I had to send myself to the academy because in the late 90s, early 2000s, and this, I know this is going to sound bad, the only way an uncertified police officer had a good chance of getting hired is if somebody retired or somebody died.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds bad. You know, you're like, well, what'd you do? Just stand around and be like, man, I hope somebody dies because I need a job. And, you know, I'd like to be police. But no, if I don't want to, I'm pretty sure it was over 200. When I was first applying with Lawrenceburg, I'm wanting to say I was told they had over 200 applications. And people just they didn't quit. You know, you had people not making sergeant until they had like 12 or 15 years in.
Sure.
We got what I'm calling kids. We got people making sergeant or lieutenant right now with only 3 years of experience.
Yeah.
Because it has went from a profession to a job in a lot of people's eyes, and a little bit again has had to do with other agencies offering bigger pay. But that's not just it. You've had a tremendous exodus just with people getting out of law enforcement in general because times have changed. You know, you no longer have the majority of the support from the public. People are watching TV. You know, it's just like with them cops back in New York City. You know, you remember when you could walk up to a police officer in New York and throw water in their face and there wasn't anything they could do about it because that was a touchless and statuteless crime. I think it was Eric Adams was the mayor.
Wow.
Directed his officers, if somebody comes up and throws water into your face, they've not touched you, that is not assault, you are to stand down. Man, that's crazy. And I mean, who not in law enforcement sees that on TV and goes, man, that makes me want to be the police? No, times have changed. A lot of people have gotten out, and I can't say that I blame them. There's a lot of wives out there that are a lot more happy with their husbands working in a factory or, a nice air-conditioned office. And instead of being a police, they know what time they're coming home every day. They know they're not likely going to be shot by working in a factory. So just all the way around, not just pay, all the way around, times have changed for law enforcement.
Yeah. Wow. Well, it can be a rewarding job, though, I bet.
It is. It is.
We don't do it for the money.
No.
We do it because I mean, you provide a service to the community and it helps you sleep better at night.
Somebody has to do this.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's got to do this.
Yeah. I mean, it is. It's not as fun. The job isn't as fun as it used to be, just because you've got so many eyes on you, and you've got. I mean, you really have to. You have to be a totally different person when you're in uniform and when you're not now, because everybody's got phones and every phone's got a camera, and you have to act like you're being videoed every time you get out of the car and put some gas in your.
And you likely are.
And there's a really good possibility.
Yeah.
So it's not as fun anymore as it used to be, but it's still a really good job. And when I'm having this conversation with a new hire, or I'm trying to get somebody hired for a position, I mean, you get a take-home vehicle, and you get a gas card. You don't have to. This is your work vehicle. You don't have to put gas in it. You don't have to pay insurance on it. You know, so we provide that. We give you a pistol, you know, to help you do your job. You get a badge, you know. You don't get the respect like you used to.
Amen.
Because just people are so naturally dadgum disrespectful these
Yeah.
days. And I don't want to get on that soapbox. But,
Yeah.
you know, but you do get a little bit of a level of respect. And it's a good job. I mean, you don't have somebody looking over your shoulder. We don't micromanage you. You're not standing in front of a press or a mold or something for 8 straight hours.
Sure.
And you can, and I tell my guys, you know, give me 40 good hours a week, look busy, work hard, come in on time and go home. That's all I ask. You know, I like low maintenance employees.
Sure.
And if you do that, it's a great job. Yeah, you're going to have to deal with some drunk guy or some crazy woman or something, you know,
Yeah.
got a fight or whatever and take them, you know. But you know, some days it's quiet and you can get out and do your job, and some days you can't get caught up. But compared to a lot of other jobs, law enforcement is a good job.
Yes.
We don't make the money that I wish I could pay every employee what I make, you know.
Yeah.
But it's just not there. And
Sure.
The budget's just not there. But it's a really good job, and you do sleep good at night knowing that you made the community a little bit better.
Yeah.
When I first started working, I made $9.21 an hour.
921.
And I could not believe that they were paying me to do this job.
I made $16,000 a year.
Okay, so that you'd have been around $8 and something.
Yeah.
I cannot think of another job that was more rewarding for a young man.
Yeah.
You know, an early 20-year-old. I can remember washing my patrol car because when I first got started, I still lived at home with Dad, and I remember being in my driveway washing my patrol car. My daddy come out there, who's a former police officer. He's like, "Son, don't you know they've got trustees to do that for you?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know." But I was washing like he said, my own, take home. It's all mine. You know, unless I do something wrong, ain't nobody taking from me. This is my cop car.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of fun on a Sunday afternoon out there washing my patrol car because you felt it, you know. It felt good to be a police officer. It felt good to wash that cop car in your driveway. The pay ain't everything, but still to this day, I cannot think of hardly another profession. And I know our firefighters are going to be like, "Hey, don't forget about us," but I can't forget. I mean, I can't think of another. You know how they are.
They have
God
bigger.
love them.
They have bigger vehicles than you.
They do, but they're red. But,
They got bigger mustaches.
right, they got bigger mustaches. But yeah, I cannot think of another career, maybe the military, that is such a feel good. I'm really proud that I'm doing this than law enforcement. Pay ain't there, but again, pay and everything.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's right.
That's awesome. I've noticed something here recently. There has been a rash, seeming to me, of car crashes.
Yeah, I noticed that too. Especially, well, I mean, you really can't say it's out in the county because the cities had.
I
several of them, too.
personally witnessed one myself the other day. Of course, this wasn't the incident that happened in front of Dairy Queen with the cross ties in the doggone road.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember this? It was in town.
I
Of
know.
course,
Yep, I got behind it.
well, those cross ties were in front of me, and I saw them. I thought it was cardboard. I saw ahead of time, and I moved over, And when I got up close, I went, oh my gosh, those are cross ties. And I was watching in my rear view mirror, the car behind me never slowed up, never, and hit those things. And so I witnessed the whole thing in my rear view mirror. And I whipped around and come back around, and there were people already trying to help them and all that kind of stuff. But I was like, anyway, there's just been a rash of these things. I was like, people need to slow down.
Well, you look at our county's grown a lot, and it's continuing to grow.
Yes.
There's more people on the road. I mean, if you ever try to drive through Lawrenceburg on a Friday afternoon, you know, you see it, how big our county is gotten. You combine that with cell phones.
Yeah.
So cell phones are the number one cause for the majority of wrecks. People are not paying attention. I don't know. I don't know. It's distractions, but people just don't drive like they used to.
Yeah.
I'm on the road every day. Blake not as much as he used to be since he's not at the PD anymore, but I'm on the road every day.
Yeah.
And it's almost like there's a close call every day from somebody that's not paying attention.
Yeah.
The guy that hit the concrete truck last month or earlier this month. There's really no way to explain that. He shoots around another vehicle and attempts to pass it and hits this truck head on.
Yeah.
And it cost him his life.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was thinking, why he thought he could make that.
Yeah.
But you see it, I see it every single day.
Yeah.
A close call.
Yeah.
Somebody almost rear ends somebody almost, they'll change lanes and hit somebody. But the phone is the number one distraction.
I believe that, no doubt.
Combine that with all the traffic on the road. I think we've had 4 on Turnpike and Red Hill Road.
Yes.
Center Red Hill Road, Etheridge Red Hill Road, and Turnpike. That area up there has been, I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know what it is about that area.
Yeah.
But you're right. There's been a lot of it.
Yeah, and of course I live out that way. I live out on Greenwood, so every time I see Red Hill, Green Hill, all that, and I'm like, what is going on out there?
No idea.
People, like he said, people, one, are living way too fast.
Yeah.
Way too fast. I love hearing my daddy's voice in the back of my head all the time. I can remember as a teenager, my dad saying, son, you gotta slow down. And he wasn't just talking about driving fast. He was just, he was talking about driving fast and I gotta go here, I gotta go there, I gotta get there, I gotta see this person. But, fast forwarding 20 years later, I was nowhere near to what our, teenagers and 20-year-olds are today. This life has just gotten way too fast. And when you mix a fast life in with a distraction device, like an iPhone, a smartphone that can do, it's got more technology than the ship that flew our guys to the moon, you know?
Who would have thought a mother would have to have, who would have thought we're living in a time where a vehicle has an alert if you leave your infant in the vehicle in the back seat for too long? Who ever thought that we're living in a time where you're so distracted you forget about your baby? You forget to drop your baby off at daycare and you drive all the way to work and park out in a hot parking lot and get out and go into work.
That's absurd.
I know, but there's alerts now on vehicles that'll tell you if you've left a kid in the back seat.
Yeah. Well, we're winding up. We've got about 4 minutes left. Is there anything else you want to kind of bring up or talk to or discuss?
I got a list.
All right.
I'm a list writer. The scams. I don't know if y'all saw Tommy Lee's Facebook post the other day about the jury. So we got new jurors coming in today, this afternoon. I forget how many subpoenas he sent out. I'm going to say 300 and something. So we'll have new jurors coming in to get put on panels. And there's a jury duty scam that's going around out there that says you've missed it, and if you don't send us some money, we're going to come arrest you. and they're really good, like all the other scams are. They're believable. Yeah. Nothing like that. We're not going to arrest you for missing jury. You need to come. Yes. But you're not going to get a phone call from law enforcement saying you missed it and we're going to arrest you, or then send us some Apple Pay cards. Or send money. Yeah. But that's a big one, and of course the tax scam is still out there. We're still getting complaints on that. When one kind of starts losing traction, the other one picks up. Sure. And if there's ever any doubt, just hang up and call 762-0450. That's the non-emergency line for dispatch, and they will tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll tell you. Or you can call us 762-3626, but they will. I mean, they're believable. Like I said, I had a guy bring his wife in, and his wife was convinced that we was going to arrest her, and she had to come to the sheriff's department and hear it from me personally that I wasn't going to arrest her.
Oh, bless her heart.
That's how believable this person was. But
Wow.
yeah, look out for them and just drive safe and wear your seatbelt and keep both hands on the wheel and
Sure.
look out the windshield and all the things you're supposed to do. Check your mirrors before you put your car in reverse. That's a big one. I preach that.
You know, especially
I preach it. Check your mirrors before you put it in reverse.
Yeah.
especially this time of year because, you know, school's out and you got kids, you know, all over the place. You know, that's just like our pastor. That's one thing. He's very adamant, you know, at VBS, he's like, please, you know, please check your mirrors. Please drive slowly. Please take another look. And
Sure.
again, it's all about slowing down. Slowing down. Just
Yep.
you know, an extra couple minutes.
Thanks for
It's
asking.
not, well, we got maybe another minute before I have to turn you loose, but, you know, it's not worth, whatever you're in a hurry for, it's not worth you losing a life or taking someone else's life, you know.
No, and you bring up a really good point. You're not the only person out there on the road.
That's right.
And travel ball is wide open.
Oh, yeah.
And you see these
Yes.
these moms and dads with 2 or 3 kids in the SUV or the van, you know, in their ball uniforms. I mean, there's a lot of kids and a lot of vehicles right now. School's out. You don't want that on your conscience. You don't want to be responsible for a major accident and a mom and her 2 kids coming home from ball practice late one evening and have that on your conscience. So just slow down and pay attention.
So, jury duty, there'll be a big crowd at the courthouse today.
Oh yeah. And if you're coming, and if you're listening and you're coming, just bear with us. It's going to be hot. It's going to be 1 o'clock. We're going to try to get everybody. I'm going to be up there. We're going to try to be getting people in the courthouse as soon as we can because the line sometimes goes out the door and around the parking lot.
And be patient too because they've got a murder trial going on.
We've got a murder trial going
right
on
now
right
too.
now, too.
So people just need to be a little patient. That courthouse is going to be kind of.
We will be doing our due diligence to try to get you in there in the air conditioner as soon as we can.
Wow.
Well, I'm bereaved. I'm fixing to go get something to eat.
Are you?
Yes.
Well, that sounds good to me. Where are we eating?
I don't know. Somewhere it's got. I'm thinking of sausage, egg, and cheese. What do you think?
You need to eat some freaking oatmeal and some wheat toast.
There you
Is that a fat joke?
Thank you, guys. See you next
Appreciate it.
time.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, that went good. Thanks, Jeff.
All right. Enjoyed it, boys. Yes. Maybe we can do it again.